myself, Shuggy the puppet actually gets more airtime than I do in the entire video. Kind of puts you in perspective there. Speaking of videos, this year we did something a little different. At the beginning of this calendar year, we started with a video series that started with the birth of Christ. And we decided to show a video series for children, divvied up in about 3-minute, 4-minute segments every week. It was the life of Christ, and it culminated, finished, just as we got to Easter. So it included the resurrection. The funny part is we spend so much time talking about salvation. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not my point. My point being is that we spend so much time talking about it, especially with children, there's a whole lot that's missed in between. And at one point, Harry makes a comment. He goes, you know what's funny? He goes, I know about Christmas, and I know about Easter. I just had no idea that the story of Jesus was so big. And that's the thing. I think sometimes it's really easy to miss that there's so much more to Christ than just Christmas and just Easter. So we're showing this video series, and we're going along. And of course, Chris has to cut it at the end, of that week. So she pushes stop, and poor Cameron was just beside himself. He goes, "You have got to be kidding me." I'm like, what? He goes, "You're going to leave us on a cliffhanger." And we said, yes. But if you come back next week, you can find out how the rest of the story plays out.
So Lily is 10 years old, and she's been coming for a couple years now. And during, actually the song that was on the video, it came time for the words, "You are my God, I know that you'll see me through." And she just burst into tears. And I had the opportunity to talk to her, and actually, more importantly, to listen to her. We just sat along the side because there's Ryan and I at Kinder Kids and Cassie, but there's also Jessica and Esther. So thankfully, we have enough help that we're able to, in times like this, to be able to take the extra time with individuals. So when I was talking to Lily, she was saying all the things that her family's going through, and it was a lot. And there was a death in the family, and then there was a lot of stuff. And so she was just really, really sad. And so after listening to her, after praying with her, she just said, "I just need to remember that Jesus is always with me." And that's true. And when her mom came in, I did have a chance to talk to her because I wanted her to know that, I know about things that were going on in their family. Nothing we had to report or anything like that. However, mom should know these things. And she just kind of stood there for a minute, and then she's like, "Thank you." Because Lily doesn't have that kind of support outside of Kinder Kids. And so because of you, she gets that support. So in turn, we want to say thank you for your support, because without your support, these stories wouldn't happen.
So after we had finished the life of Christ in the video series, then we discussed the concept of salvation. And we had these things, these little water bottles, and we also had bears that had the same corresponding colors. And it made the salvation message much easier for somebody who's 8 years old to understand. So it starts off, you've got yellow or gold, reminds us of heaven. The streets of heaven are paved with gold. But heaven is a perfect place. And we have a problem. We have sin. And that sin blocks us, puts a barrier between us and God. But God knew this all along, and what he did is he sent his son, who died on a cross, and paid the price for our sins. So you have the red. And when those sins were forgiven, we were made white as snow. But the cool part is it doesn't end there. Between here and heaven, we have this green part, which is growing. And you can grow with prayer, reading your Bible, attending a church that preaches the Bible. All of these things help us grow in our faith. So we gave them to the kids. They had their choice between the water bottle and the bear. And so Harry took a water bottle. And Chris said to everybody, she goes, "My challenge for you is over the course of the next week, share that story with somebody. Just at least one person." So Harry comes in. He's got a crumpled up piece of paper that looks like he found it underneath his bed. And on the back side it's a worksheet from like math class or something. Now it's not been done or anything, it's just a worksheet. So I see this as he goes whizzing by me because I'm at the entrance and I'm saying hello to everybody. And they come through into the gym hall and say hello to Chris and to Jessica and get all signed in and all that kind of stuff. the cool part wasn't the workbook part. The cool part was when you turned it over. You know how you put your kids' artwork on the, yeah, there was some artwork on the back page of that. What Harry had is he had 20 names on the back of there, and they were the 20 people that he had shared that story with over the course of the last week. But he didn't just do that. So what he did is he came down and he shared the story with somebody, and he goes, I'd like you to write your name down, what grade you are, and if you're related to me in any way. So he's in grade school. He's like 10. He's got high school kids on there. He's got neighbors on there. His entire family's on there. And the thing is that it's not that complicated. We would like to make it really complicated because then that sounds much more impressive, but it's not. And he shared that simply by using a little thing where somebody could ask him about it.
Now, the kids at school have water bottles sitting on their desks, so Annalie decides that she's going to fill hers up and set hers on her desk. And the story that we heard from her is that she showed it on her desk, and her teacher said, well, what is that about? Now, this is just in regular public school. And so Annalie tells her what it's about, and she goes, well, do you want to share that with the class? And so Annalie says, yes, I do. So as she's sharing it with the class, she gets to the green part and says all the different things, read the Bible, prayer, and the teacher's like, well, what is prayer? And so she's like, it's just talking to God like I'm talking to you. And she goes, do you want to pray for the class? Wow. And Annalie's like, yes, I would like to pray for the class. So it all started with this simple little gift. But this gift has big meaning. And so the fact that Annalie got to share it with her whole entire class and then pray for her whole entire class, that's just really awesome.
Yeah, we have a boy, his name's Aaron. And Aaron started coming this year. And Aaron's probably 8. And Aaron's supremely confident, and when he showed up, he was very helpful in how he thought kinder kids should be run, the things that we should do, and the games we should play, and all the activities and all this kind of thing. I did take a little while to explain to him that his lack of experience, expertise, and desire for his input on these matters was just not there. But one of the problems we had is that everybody knows one, and if they're in this room, please don't point them out to me. We all know the weepers, okay? Sometimes they're called drama queens, whatever you want to call them, doesn't really make any difference. Anytime that something happened that was not in his particular wheelhouse, it was snot, boo-hoo, tears, floods, everything. Particularly when it came to game time, because he'd get very anxious, because he was very anxious he was going to lose. I'm like, it's okay, you'll be okay. So it started becoming such a problem that it got to the point where Chris was dealing with him a lot during the time that we were there. So at one point she takes him aside and she goes, look, I have an idea. She goes, what exactly is the problem? He goes, well, I just have a lot of anxiety. Well, upon further discussion, she finds out some other things that are making him anxious and all of these things. And she goes, I have an idea. I have a very simple prayer for you. It's 3 words. 2 of them are the same. And what you want to do is you want to just start repeating this to yourself, inside yourself. And that was, peace, peace, Jesus. And she goes, just focus on that. And I think you'll see a big change. Well, it actually took a very short amount of time, and we realized we were not having to say his name 12, 15 times a day. It got to the point where we heard reports back about how much better he was doing in class, because he would just do that. Stuff would happen in class, he would start feeling himself getting upset, and he would just, peace, peace, Jesus. And he continued to do that until this anxiety would slowly release, and he would be able to function.
Now, most of the kinder kids come from single-parent families, and we had received an email from one of the principals where we have kinder kids, and I'm going to read you part of it. So this is from Mr. Simpson, and he says, the boys look up to Ryan and hang on his words and his instructions. I think they respond to a strong male character who is caring but assertive with them. And they like someone that they can laugh with and be fun, but then still responsible. And sadly, it's a combination that the kids don't often see. Oh, sorry.
I have.
You do.
Well, it is funny because we have this prayer time where all the kids are divvied up into smaller groups and an adult takes one group each. So at one point in Chris's group, we have these two young girls and their sisters, and their prayer request was, I just want to get this right. I want prayer for my mom to get back with my uncle so he can be our dad again. Okay, these are the dynamics that these children are facing. Now, in all fairness, I don't know if this person is their uncle, or just their uncle, because we know those are two different things. When your life revolves around these things with great regularity, it can be very difficult to see the goodness of God in your life. However, it astounds me on a regular basis, like her talking about Lily earlier. You know, I know God's going to see me through. I've got all this stuff going on, but He's going to do it anyway. My all-time favorite thing that happened this year, as far as funny for me, is so I'm up at the front. Chris and Jessica are in the back. Cameron comes in. He is so excited. They're going on holiday. They're going on vacation. They've got a break coming up in school. And there, when they go on holiday, they go to Egypt and Turkey and Spain and Portugal, and this is what they do. And he's all excited. And he's telling Chris all about it. And she goes, "Oh, really? That's really neat." And he goes, "Do you want to go?" Well, I thought that was real nice. He didn't invite me, but he invites my wife to go. And she goes, "Oh, really? Who's going?" He goes, "Oh, well, I got some brothers and sisters that are going. My mom's going. My dad's going. My dad's girlfriend is going." And Chris goes, "You know, I don't think I can make it." And I thought, well, that was actually a blessing to me. But it is interesting, the dynamics that are at work there.
So God is doing some amazing things at Kinder Kids, through Kinder Kids. And like the video had shown, 98% of all the kids has said yes to faith in Jesus.
Yeah.
And 88% have shared the salvation message with friends, family, and teachers. Now, I can say that this last year has been a very, very challenging one. Now, with all those awesome things that God is doing, there has been a battle of some negative things as well. We've dealt with a lot of health issues. My hands kind of took a turn for the worse. Some family issues, our budget not meeting, and through all of that, though, what we realized was the prayer support that we have. That it doesn't matter what we're going through, that when I put an email out there, Ryan puts an email out there, that we know that people are going to respond in prayer, and sometimes we get messages back, and we appreciate that. We need that, because giving to us helps us, yes, to live in Scotland, but prayer is what keeps us going. And so thank you for that.
Well, like Chris said, when people donate, whether it's for a project within this church building, one across town, or one across that big chunk of water, I would encourage you to think of it as not a donation. You are making a difference. The thing is that we don't know on this side of the grass everything that is going to come out of the things that we do. And I think God does that on purpose. Because first of all, what we do is a very small portion of what God takes and expands that out into other things. When we shared that salvation message with Harry, I had no idea that he was going to turn around and share it with 20 other people. That I'm not saying it wasn't going to happen. It just wasn't my thought. My thought was, like Chris's, please share it with somebody, anybody, one person. And he took that and went so much farther beyond. And the thing is that it does make a difference. We can make a difference here and over there. Just so you know, it's never been a question of or. It's always been a comment of and. It's not we're going to do something here or there. It's here and there, wherever there may be. we are looking, quite honestly, to have a monthly increase so that we can meet our budget. Just to give you an idea, it's not a moment, this is just a reality moment. We pay $2,500 annually for taxes. That is the right and privilege that we get to pay for living in our 700 square foot apartment. Okay, that's not rent, that's not utilities, that's not anything else. Those are just the taxes that we pay. I know this is being seen by somebody, and I am very sorry about that, so buckle up. That's all part of what pays for nationalized health care. So that's just, the money comes from somewhere, it's not actually free. The other thing that we've just discovered over the past week is that we're going to be needing to replace our boiler, which is also about $2,500, so we're looking to do that as well. When we make a difference, whether it's in a child's life or an adult's life, that is something that is ours forever. Forever, forever, forever. This is my statement. So, somebody had said it earlier that we were going to share something about something. And I never know what that's going to be. However, we left Pensacola, when? Thursday? Thursday. Yeah, we'll go with Thursday. So we left Pensacola, and we're driving, and we're actually on the north side of town, eventually. And we're sitting at a traffic light, and you remember that big smoker cooker sitting over there by the gas station? Okay. In the back of my noodle popped the thought, you need to pull in there. And I thought, no, I don't need to pull in there. Okay, so I drive off, and I drive on. As I'm driving by though, however, I look and I see there's a guy working at it. Now he's not open for the day because we're leaving early in the morning. He's getting set up, he's barbecuing, whatever he's doing. I don't know exactly because I don't do that kind of stuff. So we're driving down the road, and that thought pops into my head. It says this, wow, you just missed an opportunity. Ouch. So I said into myself, okay, what's that opportunity that I missed? This is actually what I wanted you to do. Now, by now we're miles down the road. We're not 20 feet. What I wanted you to do is I wanted you to pull over. I wanted you to give that guy some money, not for anything. And what I wanted you to do is tell him what I would like you to do, if it's okay. I will give you this $20, whatever it was. And the next time a homeless guy comes by and wants something to eat, you can say, yes. This is his livelihood, okay? I'm not pretending that this is not a deal. Okay. I said, well, we missed that one. And in my head, I thought to myself, I'm going to look for another opportunity with which to give some money to something. And God goes, don't. I said, what? He goes, no, you're missing my point. So in Deuteronomy, we read about how the Israelites come up, they're going to go into the land, they send the spies in, they come back, they decide it's just too much, I can't do it. So they're like, oh, that's terrible. So what do? They turn around, a bunch of guys get together, and they go, now we're going to do it. Well, that ends badly. If you want to read about it, it's the first part of Deuteronomy, and I don't mean just a little badly. It ends real badly. Moses tells them, look, God is not with you on this. What you're trying to do, Israelites, is in your own strength make up for an opportunity you've missed. I will admit, made the drive kind of quiet because this conversation is happening to me. Chris is over there, she's just there. This is all happening to me. My encouragement is this. When we miss an opportunity and we know we've blown it, one of the first things that happens, especially to me, is I get very down on myself. And I get very upset with myself. The second result of that, however, is I stop listening. So, what I'm doing is I've got that money. Now I'm ready. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it now. And the first thing I see, I am 100% convinced that that's what God wants me to do. And God's sitting there going, I haven't said anything. You are not listening to me. Okay? When we make a mistake, there's a couple of things that we just need to do. We need to be honest about it. Tell God that we blew it. Just as we heard earlier, you know, thank God I've been born during the time of grace and not instant judgment. Okay? We are in a time of grace. When we make a mistake, we apologize for it. We just flat out apologize. We own up to it. I don't blame somebody else. I don't sit there in the driver's seat and going, I think Chris would have told me not to. Well, guess what? God wasn't talking to Chris. He was talking to me. So as much as I want to fluff that off onto my wife and go, if she would have just said something and then confirmed to me that that was God who was speaking to me, then I would have done it. God's going, I didn't realize me talking to you was not enough. I'm sorry. So we own up to it. We're honest about it. We apologize. And then we simply move on. We move on and say, Lord, please help me to be more aware and more conscious of what you're going to tell me next. Because that thing, I've already missed it. Help me, Lord, not to miss the next 3, because I'm still sitting here, stewing about it and all of this stuff. And the great thing about it is this. God is forgiving. And if we're open and honest with him, he will speak to us on a regular basis. I was thinking about that the other day. There's only 2 reasons that I don't hear God speak. One is, sometimes he hasn't got anything to say to me right now. That's okay. The other one, unfortunately, is this. Now, the other one, the first one, that's not my deal. If God doesn't have anything to say to me right now, it's okay. I'm okay with that. Actually, I'm really okay with that. I feel pretty good when that's going on, because I'm like, hey, this is okay. When I'm doing this, that's totally on me. I would encourage you. We all make mistakes. We all do it. God still loves us. He still loves you. He still loves me. He doesn't hate me, even though I spent 72 hours just trying to get through the state of Alabama. That was not a sin punishment thing. That had nothing to do with it. God did not light that semi-truck on fire just so that I would have to sit in traffic for another extra 3 hours. Okay. Nobody was smited because of my ill-advised response. But he loves me. He loves you. He did pay that price for each and every one of us. Now, when we have to go back and ask him to forgive us, the good news is we're not all the way back at the beginning. We're just in process. God knows it's a process. He knows I'm not perfect. You could have responded there and said, no, Ryan, you're much, much closer than you think. Apparently not. But he knows it's a process. And he knows that at the end of the day, I really am trying to do my best. However, when I start doing my best, that's when amazing, amazing things happen. Thank you very much for your friendship. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much for your prayers. And thank you very much for allowing me to share just part of our journey throughout our trip in the States. So thank you all very much.
And then on our table, there is a sign-up sheet for our newsletter. And we do 2. One is for that we mail out, and then specifically the one that we email is all of our prayer needs. And the other thing is all of the kinder kids' names are on that one teeny tiny little paper. And so if you would like to pray for our kids, pray for us, those are on our table as well. So again, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. That's exciting, isn't it? Amen. We want to.
We forgot the last video.
We'll show that in just a second.
That one.